Alright guys, so I wanted to do a video on the P320. You'll see here I just wanted to start everything off as showing clear. This is just a Beretta M9 that we're going to definitely be talking about. Obviously, if we're talking about the military handgun, we have to talk about the M9 as well, because a lot of people say that the M9 is the gold standard, the best pistol ever. In the military, should have kept the M9. I'll talk about that. This is my M17 that I got about 2 years ago. I've shot this about 300 rounds throughout the 2 years, and I'm actually gonna hopefully trying to put more rounds through pistols this year. So that's one of the things I want to do. This is like my bedside gun. I do leave this thing loaded. I have carried this several times. I actually dropped this one time. Embarrassing as it is, I did drop it, and it was loaded. And obviously nothing happened, so and you see there's a little bit of wear to it. Nothing too big on the finished wear, so it has been holstered a bit. It's been holstered probably more than it's been shot, but anyways, we'll go into the finish and all that in a little bit. And then I just picked this guy up today. This is just a regular P320, as you can see. Okay, well, we may get back to this one then, but let's talk about the M17, M18s, and the M9, and we're going to briefly touch on the contracts and all that good stuff. So I just want to say, first off, if it was me, if I was the military, I would have just went to Beretta and been like, hey, we want a upgraded M9, updated M9, and been the end of it. I do think that the pistol trials and all that were a waste of time, money, and I think they were stupid. But that being said, this pistol isn't junk, and I really enjoy this pistol. As far as the M9 goes, and people saying that the M9 is the gold standard and we want the M9A3 and blah blah blah. So here's the thing with the Beretta, with the M9. If you may or may not know, there was a lot of issues with the M9 when it first came out, with locking blocks cracking, and somebody was like, I saw a video on YouTube, and I forget who it was, but they were like, oh, the only problem was the locking blocks were cracking, or the slide, there was a couple cracks in some slides. That was it. I never heard of any M9s going off, blah blah blah. Yeah, but he forgot to put in there that the slides were literally flying off, and a Navy SEAL took a slide to the face, at least one. It was possibly 2 or 3 slides that actually came off. I don't remember the details on that. So where everyone is kind of pooping on the M17 because there were some issues when they first came out. I mean, the whole drop safe thing. But the problem with comparing the M17 to the M9 is the M9, at least in the latest iterations, has 30 years of military service. This gun has been constantly upgraded over 30 years. Whereas this pistol is still new. So you're getting a lot of guys that are coming in and they're like, oh, I was in the service for X amount of years. I never saw one jam with an M9. And we get these new pistols and all they do is jam. Well, again, a lot of the guys that are on the internet now making videos, they weren't in the military in the 80s, or sorry, the 90s, or yeah, no, the military adopted this, I think, 85. So they weren't in the military whenever the M9 was adopted, and they didn't go through all those issues that the teething issues that the original M9s had. So I don't think it's quite fair to compare this to an M9, at least yet. There's been a lot of people saying about how Sig might be losing the contracts and with the military, and I think that's all fallacy. I'll be honest with you. I've been watching a lot of these whole M9 or M17 videos and the P320 videos, and all I'm really hearing is a bunch of circumstantial evidence. I've seen a good bit of the videos of the guns going off by themselves, and things like that, and the pistols exploding, which I've only ever seen one video of that, and that to me looked like that kind of stuff happens, especially with shooting reloaded brass and stuff. So I don't quite understand. Like I said, most of the stuff that people are talking about on YouTube is circumstantial at best. And, I was always told, believe half of what you see and believe nothing of what you don't see. So I'll leave that with that. I do want to talk about some of the other P320, like, so the accidental discharge. So when I first made this video, I was talking, and one thing I want to show here is this, because I do think that SIG should kind of do themselves a favor, and I think they should do a voluntary recall, and they could put a trigger dingus in this, or if you want to upgrade your P320 and put a manual safety on it, I think they should do that. I think all of these pistols should have a manual safety on them and or a trigger dingus. I mean, at least one of the two. So one of the things that I don't like about the P320, and one of kind of what I think's going on with these whole uncommanded discharges, is if you look at this, like I'm just on the side of the trigger and barely any pressure. This one's a little harder. I can get it to go off. The M17, on the other hand, I think because this is broken, this one goes off really easy. I mean, there's like no effort into that. So I do think that maybe a trigger dingus could be put in. Now, obviously, if you have the safety on, it doesn't go off. So my guess is something is kind of in holsters or something going on. So, and there's a lot of people who are like, oh, that's it. There's other guns that don't go off in the holsters and blah, blah, blah. And that's actually not true. I'm going to roll in video of quite a bit of, I guess I should have mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to roll in clips that I found. I just typed in on YouTube accidental discharges, and there was quite a couple Glocks that actually went off in holsters. There was a guy who loaded his gun, put it in appendix style, bent over, boom, gun went off in the holster. Well, he wasn't touching it. He clearly put his shirt around it. It was done. He bent over, boom, went off. Now, I don't know what caused that. I'm sure they found some reason that it went off. But the point is he wasn't touching the gun, and it had a safety dingus, and it didn't go off, and it went off.
Call 911 right now.
Michael, call 911. Where are you shot? Talk to me.
I don't know.
Now, I found a video by, I think it was USCCA or USCA or whatever that concealed carry company is. And they were talking about that actual video. I'll roll it in now. And they were like, we know Glocks just don't go off. And they were just speculating. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now, again, this was years ago before this. Most of these videos are older, especially the videos of the Glocks I'm going to show you are older. But that's, I just thought it was funny. Like I said, I wasn't trying to look up Glock anything. I just was looking at just to see what else was out there, what else was going on. And it turns out that, yeah, Glocks go off too in the holsters when no one's touching them, apparently. Apparently, it just happens. I mean, firearms are dangerous, especially if you're carrying one in the chamber, which you should be. That's why I like having a manual safety, especially if I'm going to carry that. Now, this, I'm not going to carry. This is going to be one of the pistols that I leave just loaded, empty chamber in the house, kind of hiding away in case I need it. So, but I do have a P320 and P365, and I will say that I've tried to pull the trigger like I did here, and it takes significantly more force to do that on the P365 than it does on the P320s. So I do feel confident in carrying that. And like I said, I don't carry appendix style. I just put it on my hip. I have a close-in holster on that that's close to my body, and as small as the P320 or 365 is, it conceals mostly well. I'm not super concerned with deep concealing. You may be, but I'm not. So I was actually really surprised to see all this stuff about the discharges. Now, one of the things that I found was there was a video from another pretty big YouTuber, and he was saying how the military had 9 accidental discharges with the M17, and I believe he said it was 3 years. Well, it's interesting. So the Marines from, I did, like I said, just did a quick research. I'm not going to spend 3 hours researching, but because quite frankly I don't care that much, because I like these guns, and if there is a problem, it'll get worked out in court. And if like I said, if there is an actual problem, Sig will be forced to fix it. I do think that they should put the trigger dingus in and the safety. I believe the one case that they lost was because there was no trigger dingus and no manual safety. So and I believe that they were found forced to pay out on another one, but then they actually refiled and they ended up winning that one, so they didn't have to pay out in that or something like that. But let me read this to you. So there was, that guy was saying how there was 9 discharges of the M17 going off in the holster, which, by the way, there's no video of these 9 incidences. At least post edit here. I am aware of the foreign military when the guy was clicking the P320 in the holster, the Serpent holster, and it went off. I don't know what is going on with that, but I do find it kind of weird that they were, filming and they just happened to get a close-up of that. So I do think that's interesting, but I'm talking about the U.S. military, accidental discharges here that I saw. So it was 9 cases in 3 years with the M17. I believe that was in all of the military. So let me read you something here, just a quick Google search that I did. So the Marines had 54 negligent discharges in 5 years, from 2013 to 2018. That's about 10 a year. That's interesting. And I believe the M17, M18 wasn't in service in 2013. Somebody correct me. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. So how is that possible? Interesting. So there was other firearms had accidental discharge. Weird. Interesting. All right, so let's move on here. So this is from Nova Scotia, and it says between April 1, 2008 and March 31st, 2009, there were 400 convictions for negligent weapons discharges. So far in this recording year, there was 229 such incidences. So that wasn't 1 year. That were like, get the hell out of here. That was in Nova Scotia. I believe that was the military. That's insane to me. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the P320 wasn't even in existence from 2008 to 2009. I'm not wrong. I'm just being sarcastic, so you don't have to correct me on that. But so, like I said, I was looking these videos up, and I remembered there was a video of a cop back in the day with a Glock, and he was talking to, I guess, school kids or something, and he was like, oh, something about his Glock, and he ended up shooting himself, or just shooting the weapon off. And now he was handling the gun, but, or I believe he was handling the gun, or maybe he was putting his whole, I'll put the video on it.
This is a Glock 40. 50 Cent, Too Short, all of them talk about Glock 40. Okay, I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only one.
It's a pretty not very good, it's an old video that's not very clear, but you can watch the video. So also what I want to say is, actually I wanted to write this down and I forgot. The firearms industry is kind of a funny bitch, because I feel like a manufacturer will do something that people don't like, and then we hate that manufacturer for this month or this year. So, I mean, let's see here. Springfield, Daniel Defense, who else? Sig. There's more. I wanted to write it down, man. I totally forgot to do that until just now. Anyway, so it's basically, what flavor of the month is it? What company do we hate this month? And everybody jumps on the bandwagon. And, yeah. and it's stupid. Now, do I agree with Sig's comments? No. I think so when I read it originally, I didn't take it personally. But apparently I'm the only one, because everyone else freaked out and said Sig was calling them anti-gun and clickbait, blah, 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 or whatever. I don't even know exactly what the comment. I read it and I was like, okay, whatever. The guns don't go off by themselves. That's what they're saying. Now, I will say that there is a lot of anti-gun media that are actually in this. I don't think Sig meant to call gun people anti-gun. I think Sig was meaning that, like, a lot of the anti-gun people are literally trying to get the P320 out of existence. And that is an actual thing. They're not necessarily referring to the gun guys, I don't think. I'm not Sig. I don't know what they were thinking. I wouldn't have personally put a press release out like that, but they did, so what are you going to do? Now, you can hate Sig, you can sell your Sigs, and that's fine. You do whatever you want. I'm just saying, like I said, I remember back when Springfield did their thing that actually hurt FFLs in their state, and everybody was all up in arms. Now, Springfield is back as one of the best there is, when personally I think Springfield is literally an import company, and I don't understand why people buy stuff from them, but that's my opinion. Same with Daniel Defense. Everyone hated Daniel Defense for 6 months or a year or whatever it was. And now everyone's like, well, meh. Or you'll find people that don't even know what I'm talking about with Springfield. Man, there is some more. I just can't. It's like, what flavor of the month is it? It's just like ring around the fucking rosy. Here it is with this manufacturer does something wrong. This manufacturer does something wrong. Now, Sig they had to solve the drop safe issues, yes. That's been fixed. And I'm not saying there's not something wrong with the P320, because I'm not an engineer. I don't know. All I know is if there was a legitimate concern, and there's been a couple videos floating around on YouTube where guys are sticking metal pieces back here and they're getting their firing pin to go, and I don't know if, without touching the trigger, I don't know if any of that's legit or not. You're sticking a piece of metal in the gun. I don't know. And if that is legit, I hope that, you would get a lawyer and bring that up to Sig. And like I said, if there is an issue with it, I want it to be fixed, because I really like the P320s. As far as, I don't know what else to say, except, I think it's just everyone jumping on the bandwagon. Now, as far as the finish goes on these pistols, I said I wanted to touch on that, and I kind of got off on a tangent. So you can see how that looks all black there. I saw a guy on Facebook posted a thing, and he was saying, somebody was asking about the finishes on the M17s, and the guy was like, oh yeah, mine's all stained. He showed a picture of that. I wanted to just see here. I'm not sure. Yeah, see, mine seems to wipe off. It doesn't seem to get super black there. Maybe it will over time, but it almost wiped like new. Kind of weird how that happens, huh? Interesting. So, I'm not saying it won't over time, but kind of funny how it just wiped off like that. That's interesting. So, there is some wear here and the coating. It is what it is. I don't know what guys want. Look at this. This is holster wear from on a completely different part. This is not from Sig. The problem is the damn tan coating. The freaking tan just wears so terribly on anything, no matter what kind of coating you put on. Look at the light. That's insane. That's from holstering it. I have a Surefire on my M4A1 from Colt, and that thing's all beat to hell too, and I don't holster that. So I really think it's the tan coating. Now, I'm sure that they probably could go to a different finish, but I don't think the tan's going to wear, no matter what finish it is. I personally don't think tan just wears that good. And I think that's the problem. So maybe Sig should go to a black finish. I don't know how this wears. I haven't holstered this at all, obviously. So, I don't know, guys. If you go back to whenever we switched to the M9 from the 1911, everybody hated this fucking thing. Everybody hated it. And they had issues with it. The slides were cracking. Beretta ended up suing the U.S. military over damage to their reputation. And, you know, this was a pile of junk forever. I mean, SEALs were catching these things in the faces, and now they're the best guns ever. So maybe in 20 or 30 years, and whenever we switch to a new handgun, these will be the best handgun ever. I don't know. Or maybe the military will switch from these, but I doubt it. And then I see guys bitching about the new Sig rifle that the military is looking to adopt or is adopting. And they're like, oh, we want the M9 or the M4A1. Since the fuck when? People hated the M4. Even 15 years ago, people hated the M4. They hated the 5.56. They wanted to go to a heavier caliber. Now the military is looking to do that, and guys are, no, we want the M4. Come on. I mean, no matter what, guys are going to bitch. Do I think there's anything wrong with these SIGs? I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I think guys are getting stuff caught in the holsters. You know, I don't know. I mean, you know, that guy, the cop, it was in holstered and he wasn't touching it and it went off. Well, the guy holstered his Glock and he bent over and it went off. I mean, it happens. You know, I don't know what to tell you. Besides, look at history. I mean, it happens. Firearms are dangerous. And that's just the way it is. I mean, there's millions of these handguns out. So why is it that nobody can show SIG exactly what's wrong with it? No one can sue SIG and say, this is the problem with the pistol, now fix it. Why is that? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching, and let me know your comments if you like SIG, if you hate SIG, if you think SIG's a piece of junk. Leave your comment. If you think I'm stupid, leave your comment. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day.